Focus on my brake lights.
Ain't turning back. Now that I'm back on track, yeah. Take my word from it. Put a couple bands on it. And I don't plan on letting people turn me. No. You can say what you want. I'ma keep pressing on. I can't go pop that thing like I'm feeling great, right? Talking to my past life. Focus on my brake lights. Losing to my future now. I'm feeling great, right?
Hello, and hello. Y'all already know what time it is, and y'all know when y'all see me pump like this, I had that good
coffee.
Thank you very much. Listen, for this next hour, we want you guys to stay glued to your screen because we're gonna have an interesting show today.
Yes.
You know, we do have an in-house guest, OMG. But before we get to her really quick, we're gonna be talking about, actually, you know what, even before that, let us be nice, let us be polite, let us be cordial, let us introduce ourselves for those who are first-time viewers. My name is Nori.
I'm Angeli.
I'm Shaitia.
And you're tuned in to Breaking the Silence, all right? So listen, we have invaded your tablet, we have invaded your computer, we have invaded your home for this next hour, all right? So one of the things we're gonna be discussing today is exploring our world.
Yes.
That's something we love to do from time to time. And today we are going to be exploring the beautiful country of Turkey. So for those of you who are already making plans for vacation and stuff like that, you might want to consider Turkey, but we'll dive into that a little bit later. And we do have a very special guest. Let me tell you guys something. When I first heard that she was gonna be here on the show, I was like, Lord, where were you when we had a former basketball player here on the show? I needed to know the ins and outs. I was just like, what in the world? But listen, today we have our very special guest, Nicole Henry. She is in the house, all right? And we're gonna get into a lot of questions. Hey, Nicole, how are you? She is an author, and listen, she is into the sporting scene. Let me tell you something. Whenever you are around your family, we have Sierra Nicole Henry, actually, okay? So whenever you're around with your family and stuff, and sports is like the main thing, you kind of feel lost, especially us women. Well, okay, listen, she's gonna educate us on a whole bunch of stuff, right? But I think we loaded you guys with a whole bunch of stuff. We wanna give you guys some time to soak it all in. And when we come back, we are going to be on the orange couches with Sierra. So we'll be right back after this break.
Don't change the channel. We will be right back with more Breaking the Silence.
From overcoming challenges to embracing triumphs, get ready for laughter, inspiration, and the unbreakable spirit of women. Breaking the Silence, it's your time to shine, begins now.
Hi, I'm Susan Lucci. I never thought about heart disease until I had my own heart event. I had a 90% blockage in my main artery and a 75% blockage in the adjacent artery. I received 2 stents in my arteries, stents developed through research funded by the American Heart Association. Those stents saved my life. Learn more about the American Heart Association's life-saving work at helpheart.org.
Need a ride? Yeah!
Driving with kids is a big responsibility.
Hop in and buckle up!
So don't sweat the small stuff.
You got paint all over our paper!
Get the big stuff right instead.
What does that mean?
Like making sure your kids are in the correct car seat and buckled up for safer travel.
That deserves a wiggly wiggly wig.
To make sure your child is in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Real women, real talk. Breaking the Silence is where stories become connections. Let's break the silence together.
At the time, I just wasn't thinking. I used social media to vent. I wish I would have thought about the effects of scaring people. I didn't mean for that to happen. People took it as a terrorist threat. The university got shut down. I got arrested by the FBI. And now, I don't know what my future looks like. I search my name on the web almost every day and look at the stuff. It's not going away. Think before you post.
Your voice deserves to be heard. Join the conversation.
Travel is part of the American way of life.
When we're on vacation, we keep an eye out for anything that looks out of place.
Miss your bag.
When we travel from city to city, we pay attention to our surroundings.
Everyone plays a role in keeping our community safe.
Whether you're traveling for business or pleasure, be aware of your surroundings. If you see something suspicious, say something to local authorities.
Breaking the silence is back. Let's keep the conversation going.
We are going to be exploring our beautiful country of Turkey.
Yes.
So, for those of you who don't know, Merhaba. Merhaba means hello in Turkish. So if you're considering visiting Turkey, then that's something you definitely want to know. But of course, let us go through our highlights for Turkey, which has a lot of breathtaking landscapes and places and wonderful scenes for you to enjoy if you're gonna travel. You know, for women who love to travel solo as well, it is very, very important to always know your ins and outs about where you are going, right, ladies?
It's like stepping into a storybook, you know, like things that you probably see in the fairy tales or like even in movies. Well, you could actually have it in real time if you go to Turkey.
Yes, for sure.
And you know, it's a crossroads where the East meets the West.
It's
right?
true.
And you know, there are breathtaking, as Nori was saying, landscapes. Landscapes. You know, you can have different things, whether you're going to ancient ruins, whether you're going to be relaxing, chillaxing on the beaches, or even going to the bazaars, because you know Turkey is very famous for their bazaars and what their street fairs.
Yeah, there's so many beautiful things that you can learn, that you can appreciate when it comes to traveling, to exploring the beautiful world of Turkey, country of Turkey. So let's start with Istanbul. Istanbul is one of the main cities there in Turkey, which also has wonderful, wonderful things. It also has, you know, awestruck, many magnificent places that you will be like, oh my goodness. And it's definitely a place where you would learn its culture, you would learn history, you will learn a whole bunch of beautiful things.
Fun fact, I was actually in Istanbul.
You sure was?
No, what was that?
No.
Actual destination?
No.
So I never left the airport.
At least you get a glimpse of it.
Airport, but I was actually in that country for about 14 hours because we had a long layover. Yes, but even the airport was so packed, and so you know they even have spas in the airport. There's
Did you go to the spa?
I did. We actually took a shower in the spa because we stayed overnight, so we took a shower, and you pay like $5 and they give you this spa package with slippers and everything in it. So that's
book your
very
flight
helpful.
now.
Yes.
Wow, that's great. Well, talking about history, right? So if you're a fan of history, this place is actually, you are stepping into a real history book. So this palace is called Topkapi Palace, and this is the former home of Ottoman Sultan. So and also for shopping lovers, as Shaitia mentioned, bazaars, right? Grand Bazaar and Spice Bazaar, they're a must. And also the covered market with thousands of shops selling a wide variety of goods. So if you go there like on the street, it's not gonna be like empty, because you're gonna find something that you're interested in, because there are just so many to choose from that you're even like, let me visit each one of them, because there's just so many things.
Can you just imagine how the smell is of like the Spice Bazaar, like all of the different scents and all of the different street foods that they have? I'm getting hungry just thinking about, because I'm gonna be honest, the food there is so delicious. We ate the airport food, and even we flew Turkish Airlines, and you would get a full meal. It wasn't like what we have nowadays. You would get a full meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner on the airline, the airplane, and the food was so flavorful, so good, and we're gonna talk also about Cappadocia, right? And the hot air balloon.
I've seen the scenery of it before, and it looks really nice and amazing. It's something that you can embrace and take in and be like, wow, look at that.
That looks so fun. I'm afraid of heights, but I would totally, because it's just relaxing. It's just, you know, you're there and you're floating through the air, and it's not too much work, you know, where you're like jumping out and all of these things at once. You're just like there, you know, enjoying the different sides, going over like the ruins and things like that.
It's something like coming out of a dream, you know. I mean, there's so many beautiful things, you know, and this is the importance of going out, exploring the world, because if you just stay stuck to where you're at, you're never gonna get to embrace or see the wonders of so many different places. I mean, goodness gracious, just looking at the scenery, just looking at all of these wonderful things, it's like, oh my goodness, where have I, like, I just can't stay stuck here. I need to get up and I need to go and I need to travel.
Right. And one more landmark actually for history lovers, another thing is Ephesus. It's a must see. So this is an ancient Greek city, and it's incredibly well preserved. As you can see, there are like some cracks, but they're preserved. It's preserved. So when you walk through its ruins, it's like you're traveling back in time. So like you are actually walking to the, you know, it's really ancient ruins, you know, so you can practice, feel the history come alive. So you see that beautiful, look at that great ancient city.
Yes.
That is beautiful.
Yeah, look at that.
And you know, if you want, maybe you're like, okay, I want to relax a little bit. I'm doing all of this street walking. I'm going around. I'm doing the hot air balloon. If you want, in Pamlico, White Terrain Terraces, they have these thermal pools that you can go and you can sit and you can relax inside. Just look at the beach, look at the white terrain. Imagine the scenery where it's just completely wide and, you know, everything is just so beautiful. As you can see, all of the tourists there taking the pictures and seeing these heated pools, the thermal pools.
That is really nice. And listen, let us go into the food.
Yes.
Back to the food.
Of course. You can't visit a place and not try all those wonderful foods. Look at the kebabs. So from kebabs and messis to baklav, I hope I pronounced that right, and Turkish delights. Listen, your taste buds, they would thank you. This is where diet goes out the window, all right?
Yeah, when you're traveling, it's just
exactly. And you know what's so good about traveling to countries like this? You actually really get that really good food. I mean, every time I talk about a country or I visit a country, I'm like, oh my goodness, what are they doing to us here in New York, in America? They're deceiving us. They're not giving us the good stuff. You know what I mean? So listen, definitely you would enjoy the food when you go to Turkey. There's so many different varieties. Just look at that.
Yeah, and the Mediterranean foods, it's so fresh.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not heavy when you eat it. When you eat, you don't feel full, you don't feel sluggish. You actually have energy. You actually feel satisfied where you're not tired after eating, because they don't put a whole bunch of preservatives and hormones and things like that in it, so you actually enjoy it more.
There you go.
And it actually surprises your palate, your taste, right? Because it's not something that you're used to. So when you travel, especially like Mediterranean or, you know, other foods that you never get to try almost every day, then it's something that you explore more. Even more than your sight, it's also your taste buds as well. But another thing, like you were talking about, like the beaches and everything, Turkish bath. You know, Turkish bath, what? Of course, you gotta try this. So treat yourself to a traditional Turkish bath or hammam. So it's gonna be so relaxing, rejuvenating. Just look at how it, like, look at that. Before you even like actually have the bath, even looking at this, you'll just like feel so serene and just so calm.
Relaxing.
Because,
oh my goodness, I think this will be my go-to place. If I go to Turkey, when I go to Turkey, because there's nothing better than to relax yourself and pamper yourself. It's self-care. Listen, we always talking about self-care up in here. So listen, this is a great way to take advantage of self-care. Oh my goodness.
And that just looks so beautiful.
It really does.
It looks so, like, just the scenery alone what makes you want to just relax inside of it.
Definitely. Oh my goodness. And then we also have whirling dervish. So, and if you have a chance to witness the mesmerizing ceremony of the whirling dervish, it's a spiritual and cultural experience you won't soon forget. So that's another part of its culture, and that's something that we always talk about here. Whenever you go travel and stuff, it's good to educate yourself on their culture as well, know what you're going to see, how you should, how you should be, how you should carry yourself, because you also want to respect other people's territory, their culture and stuff like that. So, and that looks amazing.
Yeah, look at
that looks really nice. Listen, let me tell you guys something. Y'all better book y'all flight. Y'all better start looking for them tickets and book it. Your next trip definitely needs to be Turkey, because let me tell you, from the beaches and the food, ooh, child.
And the street market.
And there you go. And the spas for you to relax yourself. Let me tell you, you're getting the whole entire package, all right? So listen, that's just an idea for you. If you want to plan for your vacation in the summer, start looking into it. Turkey should definitely be on your list, all right? So we hope you guys enjoyed the quick tour for Turkey. You definitely got an insight on it, all right? But we don't want you to go anywhere, because when we come back, we are definitely gonna have Sierra sitting down with us, and boy, oh boy, I have my questions for Sierra, all right? So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this break.
Laugh, learn, and love with Breaking the Silence. We'll be right back.
Our veterans put everything on the line to protect our freedom. We may never be able to repay them for their sacrifice, but we can show them just how much we appreciate all they've done. Every day, hundreds of people just like you volunteer to help our veterans. You can help by simply sharing your time, lending a warm smile, a supportive hand, or a sympathetic ear to someone who needs it. Everyone can do something to make our veterans know how much we appreciate their service. What will you do?
Hey, honey. We thought we'd try something new.
Family art hour. What do you think?
You got jokes. You're funny.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Learn more at adoptuskids.org.
One more time before you wake up in the wild.
Our natural world needs us now. Step by step, side by side, together, we can find a way to ensure that all life on Earth can thrive. To learn more about how you can help protect and conserve nature, visit nature.org.
Want more meaningful conversations? Well, then you're in luck, because you're watching Breaking the Silence.
Explore the road to success with inspiring guests, motivational tips to change your life for the better, and entrepreneurs advertising their business. Now, today's guest.
All right, we are back on Breaking the Silence, and we do have our special guest. But before we get into the questions with Sierra, we always have our question of the day, which is for you viewers. But today, since we have our special guest, she's definitely gonna have the privilege of answering it first. So here goes the question for Sierra and for everyone else. What's your top self-empowerment tip that doesn't rely on anyone else's approval? Sierra. The floor is yours, girl.
Well, while I was thinking about it, I mean, you said not anyone else's approval, but I'm really like, I grew up in church, so I'm always like, God, whatever is for you is for you. And that has always been my biggest self-empowerment tip, is to, you know, if you feel discouraged, if you feel any type of way, just know that whatever is for you is for you. No one can take it from you. God has already told you it's for you. So that's my big tip. Like anytime, I'm always like,
mic drop. Yes.
Like there's nothing else, you know.
Exactly.
Like,
there you go. There's nothing that can top that. For real. Oh my goodness. Listen, and we also want to hear from you guys as well. We do have our QR code that you can be able to scan. Scan that QR code. Is definitely going to take you to our Instagram page, which is breakingthesilence_talk show. And there you will be able to, bam, there it goes. You will be able to leave your comment. And who knows, maybe later on in the show, we would read one of your comments, all right? So listen, y'all have a couple of minutes to send in your comments. Don't take too long and don't think too much, all right? Sierra already helped you out a bit, so there's no reason why you should be struggling in sending in your comments, all right? So we're gonna do the following. We're gonna get started with Sierra. Welcome, Sierra. It is a pleasure to have you here on the show.
I'm excited to be here.
Yes.
I love being around great women, so I was like,
that's it. There you go.
I was like, a show for women. You know, for me, it's kind of like not as common because I work in sports, so I'm usually like going to talk to men or something. So I'm like, yay, women.
Listen, let me tell you, when I heard that we were gonna have you here on the show, I was like, goodness, where was Sierra when we had Booby Gibson here on the show? Because I mean, like, I was just like, so what about this? And then what about that? And he was like, oh, you need to come up, you need to be educated on your sports terminology and stuff. And I was like, I sure do. Well, listen, that's how we have you here today.
And I brought you guys a book, so that way, I brought you guys a copy of the book. So, and if people who don't know, it's kind of like a easy, quick guide that helps you kind of know the terminology. You know, it's not going to make you a sports anchor overnight, but you will know some of the terms and know what's kind of going on in the game, so you can join the conversation.
It's always important. I feel that it's always important to know that. But what sparked all of this? How did you get into all of this?
Well, I was an athlete. I played college and basketball. I started out at UCCS in Colorado. Then I went to Tyler Junior College after that, because back when I was playing years ago, you could not transfer from school to school without sitting out a year, like the same level. You can't go D1 to D1 without sitting out a year. So I transferred down so I didn't have to sit out, and hoping to get a better opportunity. But after my second year of playing basketball, I kind of was just like, I saw that there wasn't a lot of opportunity for women. A lot of women that graduated before me, they weren't able to get jobs because, they didn't have experience, and you can't really intern while you were an athlete. And so I was like, well, I don't think I'm gonna wanna go overseas, you know. I wasn't gonna go to the league.
Right.
And so I just kind of started weighing my options, and when I came to Houston, I transferred to U of H and got into sports journalism. So, and it just kind of went from there. You know, at U of H, it's like the house of all opportunity, and so I was able to work with like big things like ESPN would come to town, you know, Super Bowl, Final Four, like all those big events. I was able to work, and I just networked my way and just went from there.
That is amazing.
And you know, earlier we was watching a video of you talking about your little brother and kind of how sports united your family. Because the same is for me. Like my family, we grew up watching sports all the time.
She's a football fan.
Who's your team?
I got her to watch the Super Bowl. I'm a Steelers fan. I'm Pittsburgh all the way.
I'm okay, as long as you're not like, take it. Never mind. But no, people always hate on the Cowboys, so I had to see if you were a Cowboys fan.
I'm not a Cowboys fan. Pittsburgh all the way forever, since the 5th grade, so definitely a long time.
Are you from
fan.
Pittsburgh?
No, I'm from New York, so sometimes the Giants, maybe. But so how did that family connection to like growing up watching sports with your family play a role in today, like in your job today?
What's crazy is I didn't even actually start watching sports until I was like in high school, maybe. We just played sports together. So me and my big sister, we ran track together. We were always on the same team because we're only like a year and a half apart. And so that was just like our thing. You know, we would go out and we ran the mile track. I was actually better at track. We ran the relay together and stuff like that. And so as I got older, when my brother got interested in football and stuff, you know, as a sports anchor, he's like 15 years younger than me. And so as a sports anchor and stuff, he would always reach out to me and be like, hey, like, what do you think about this? Or do you think this? And even my parents, you know, my mom ran track in college. She went to Ranger Junior College, but they didn't really know kind of the flow of getting recruited, who to talk to, what's a good idea, is this a good school? You know, what's, you know, people think about, oh, this is the best opportunity, this, and I'm like, it's always the better opportunity to go whoever give you the most money. And so that's kind of, I feel like what reunited me and my family is because they would always ask me all the sports questions. So they're like, she knows everything. Even I don't, but.
So talking about that, like since they asked you this sports question, so when you watch, for example, you watch a sport, whatever sport it is, were you that person who's like, oh, this is happening right now? Did you start like doing practices like that?
Yes, like that is kind of why I wrote Sports Bae, because I had a lot of friends, like girlfriends who would like want to come out to the sports parties, but they have no idea what's going on. And so they would be like, well, what's this and what's, so I would spend the entire game kind of like telling them, breaking down what's going on, like, okay, this is defense and that's the quarterback and this is, you know, and so one of my friends actually suggested, she was like, you should write a book one day. And so I actually did it during COVID when I got laid off from ESPN because we, you know, nobody could go anywhere. So I wrote the book, and I actually came up with the name after writing the book. So it kind of just snuck in somewhere, and I was like, okay, Sports Bae stuck. I think it was like the hashtag era of things, and so that's kind of like, it just stuck. So went into like a lifestyle. But I was always explaining what's happening. When I'm with my family and friends who actually do know sports, though, it's a grand time. Like we have a great time.
I can imagine.
It's a party.
We do have a video that we want to show real quick. We're gonna play it, and then we'll be right back. All right.
But hold on, wait a minute. If you thought they were finished, Stroud hitting Collins on this next play on the screen. He's got some room, and it's giving dreams and nightmares, people, for the Colts. And he'll get right outside the 10 here. Then Houston will finish this drive on the next play with a touchdown pass to Andrew Beck. But hold on.
Oh my goodness. How was that for you?
That was always, so one of my big, I'm a big music person. So like even in the book, you know, there's a lot of references to like, you know, for people to know who Russell Wilson is. Like if you don't know who Russell Wilson is, but you listen to music, then you will know, well, you know who Sierra is, right? And so if I say, what's Sierra's husband? Then some people will be like, oh, well, that's my favorite quarterback now. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm always doing like references from like songs because it just goes together, you know? Like.
How has it been for you? Like, you're a black woman in the sports scene, and I know that could be very challenging. When you first started, how was it for you? Was it intimidating? Was it, you know, how were you able to push through the challenges? Because for a woman to come in and step in, you know, with boldness and confidence, such as you present even here right now, how was all of that for you? How were you able to navigate through that?
Man, it's a grind. You know, I always tell anybody who's going in, like, be ready for the work, you know, and be versatile, be good at everything, especially being a black woman. You know what I'm saying? You got to be 10 times better, and there's no excuses. So just going in, and I think the athlete in me, you know, whenever I would get discouraged or feel some type of way or feel like I wasn't good enough, it would always be the athlete in me or the competitor in me that would say, okay, well, if they're saying that you're not good enough at this, well, then you need to get in there and work on it. Where I think it's kind of maybe nowadays, the generations are kind of looking for instant gratification. They don't really know how to like work on stuff. And so that's the big thing is like work. Even like when it comes to like talking on camera, being in front of the camera, you know, no one starts out good. And I think a lot of people think they're like, oh, you just get on and you're a natural. And I'm like, no, when I first started, like I was like, you know, like I didn't. And so just going through it, I think you just have to believe in yourself, and you got to really know what it is that you want. The money isn't going to keep you there. The people won't keep you there. So it has to be what you really want, and just grinding through it. I mean, I just kept myself close to God and just, you know, always willing to learn.
And so we're gonna get a little technical here, okay? So what is the difference between a color analyst versus a play-by-play commentator?
I am so glad that y'all asked that question. Because I don't think people I think even when I got into sports, no one really tells you hey, this is this and this is this and this is that. Right. It's like they're like, oh, just cover sports broadcasting. So a play-by-play person is the person who is actually sitting there and they're saying the sports the whole entire time. Like they're saying, okay, there's Stroud on the 10-yard line and he's doing this and he's doing that. The color analyst is the person who is adding color, right? So their job is to say, well, yeah, Stroud was able to get that good look because so-and-so blocked for him and that let so-and-so while Nico Collins wide open. That he's adding color to the play-by-play. And so then the sideline reporter, their job is to give you the sights and sounds of what's going on the sideline. So when there's timeouts and the coaches are in the huddle, that's their big deal, is to go listen to what's going on, what's happening, because the people in the booth or who are calling the game, they can't hear or see that. And so that's the sideline reporter's main job, is to add that sideline, talk or whatever into the broadcast.
Yeah, because a lot of times when you're watching sports, you'll hear them say in the locker room he said this or he said that. And you're like, but how did you know what he said?
Right, exactly. So that's why so there's all those moving parts. The color analysts, their big job is to find those storylines, right? So when the play-by-play person is like, yeah, this is Stroud's 15th touchdown of the season, then the color person will go in and add color to what he just said. So yeah, I'm so glad y'all asked it, because I feel like people don't really know, and no one really asks because they don't really know how to ask.
Exactly. Now let me ask you this question. That's having to witness all of this, right? And sometimes you do have your favorite team, right? As somebody who's reporting what's in the scene, how do you keep your composure to not okay, let me be biased and say more of this team more than the other one?
It's really hard, especially when you're doing a team that you favor. So right now I'm the sports information coordinator at Texas Southern. So whenever I'm there in that world, I've spent so much time with them. If somebody says anything about them, I'm like, but it's there people like when you be biased sometimes, but you just got to make sure you're not too biased, right? Because they don't want to hear that this is your favorite player. They want to hear the facts. So you can throw a little sprinkle in there every now and then, but you definitely got to remind yourself, girl, you're not a fan right now. You're not a fan.
Okay. What are some misconceptions about women in, in sports media that you would like to kind of debunk?
Well, there was this one ESPN lady, I can't recall her name, but she said something like she made something up. She made something up that a coach said, and that just kind of made people who already thought women aren't good enough, it just gave them something to ride on. Now, what she didn't really just make it up. She kind of took what she thought he would say from, always speaking to him. But a lot of people don't think you know what you're talking about already. And so I would like to debunk that. You don't get these jobs because, oh, you're pretty or you look nice. That's just kind of icing on. You have to know how to write. You have to know how to write your own script. And people will figure out that you don't know what you're talking about when writing your own script. No one's going to write it for you. No one's going to say, oh, I want to talk about the Cowboys today, and they're not going to go write it for you. You have to write it, so they will know. So you have to know how to write. You can't it's not just about getting on camera looking cute. You really have to do your research. And most times as a sports anchor or a sports reporter, you are shooting your own stuff. So I would literally show up to stuff looking just like this, carrying with heels and all on, carrying my camera, carrying my tripod. And this is me being the sports director. I'm over the whole sports department. So at a news station, sports is kind of the weakest link. The news is way more important than sports. So when you're at a station, local station, you gonna work. Okay, you're gonna do your own makeup, you're gonna do your own hair. And it's the grind. I loved it. I didn't mind it. It was another sport to me, if you will. Learning how to walk and do all these things with my heels on.
And the grind is real for you because you are the first female sports director at KTX. So how did that feel? Knowing that you're the first female at that.
It felt really good. And a lot of times when I got there, I was going out, and a lot of people think I'm younger than what I am. So like the coaches were like, oh, like they thought I was like an intern or something. And I was like, no, I'm the sports director. They was like, wow. So every time I would tell someone that I was a sports director, they were like, oh, wow. And I actually only found out because a student intern at ACU came to do a sports internship, and she was doing a story over me, and that was a question that she asked me. And so I had to go ask the GM of the station. I'm like, has there ever been a female? And they were like, actually, no, there actually hasn't. So they had to kind of look it up, but there wasn't. And so I was the first female and first black female.
Wow,
so,
that is what's up. Sierra, listen, we have a load more questions that we have for you, but we do have to cut into a quick break. So y'all, listen, don't go nowhere. Yes, call your mama, your auntie, all of them that you know. They need to get up. They need to get educated on the sports scene. Listen, they're going to get all of the information here, but don't go nowhere. We're going to be right back after this break.
Empowered women, empowering conversations. Stay with us on Breaking the Silence as we inspire and uplift each other.
Is it time yet?
It's time.
Come start time for dinner.
Oh, turn to take those.
Donating pet food is one of the many ways you can help families in your community. Pets and people belong together. Learn more at petsandpeopletogether.org.
You are now listening to Soul Food Podcast with Bishop Joshua.
Oh, yes, it is Soul Food.
Keep your faith alive.
This food will never expire.
Tune in on all podcast platforms.
Let's strive to grow together on Breaking the Silence.
Explore the road to success with inspiring guests, motivational tips to change your life for the better, and entrepreneurs advertising their business. Now, today's guest.
All right, y'all. Whew, it's hot in here. The conversation, let me tell you, it is on fire, okay? So we're back with Sierra. And Sierra, I have a quick question. It's not a quick question, but I have a question, right? As a woman in the sports scene, how do you handle whenever you sense like hostility or kind of like a non-welcoming vibe from men and sports? Like, do they ever look at you or, you know, say things like indirectly, like, what are you doing here? Or how do you handle that?
Listen, first of all, you know, I'm a recovering, I want to say, like, I used to get so mad and I would let things bother me, but my mouth kind of smart. So I'm right back with it, you know, like, and that's one thing in the world, like a lot of people think like, oh, you work around all these men, like, how would your partner feel? And I'm like, listen, they don't like me. They don't like me. They do not want me here. They're not buying me lunch. I don't have a work husband. They actually want me to get out of here. But when I sense it, like, you know, one thing, my mom works in a male-dominated, she's a warden at TDCJ, so she works in a male-dominated industry. So I always go to my mom for those type of advice because it is really hard to deal with that, you know, because you don't want to say the wrong thing back because now you're in the wrong. And so my mom always taught me, like, sometimes you have to stroke a man's ego and let them think that they're winning or in control when, you know, you're really just taming the situation. And so I've mixed a little bit of that with my own comebacks, you know, and that's been helping me over. But you gotta always remember, like, when somebody is really giving you that type of energy, like, that means you're doing something right. You know, like, that means they're bothered. They're bothered that you're there. So that gives me kind of like resting peace of like, you mad? Okay. You feel some type of way. Okay, bet I won already, you know. And so even with that, like, I just laugh it off, honestly, because I'm like, okay, you're
What tips would you give to young black women who want to enter the sports scene, but they feel intimidated or afraid that they might be crushed, you know, if they even try to enter the sports scene?
Do your own thing. You know, if you start your own podcast, your own YouTube channel right now, who's gonna tell you that oh, you're not good enough. It's yours, you know, and I tell people that all the time. I feel like when I started, of course I was doing things before Sports Bay, but I feel like when I wrote Sports Bay and I started my own platform, that's when really people started to notice like, oh, hey, like she's a self-starter. And if you notice, a lot of jobs or a lot of stations or these positions, they want that. They want a self-starter, somebody who can create on their own. And so once you kind of show that, they can work with that. You know, and so I say, don't wait for somebody to give you a chance. Give yourself a chance.
I like that. And as you talked about live streaming, how do you pick the content that you live stream? Like, what is your strategy for picking content and what's gonna click with the viewers that you have?
I always, like, if I'm gonna live stream, so I don't go live a lot, but I used to go live more, but like, if I'm at a big sport event, I'm gonna go live. You know, I might go live when I get there to kind of show like the behind the scenes, because that's kind of stuff people don't get to see. So if I'm gonna be doing something that people don't normally get to see on TV, or people don't, you know, show a lot, I go live for that type of content, so that, you know, it kind of gives them something different from what everybody else is showing. Like if I was to go to the Super Bowl, I would show something other than the game, you know, because that's what everybody can see. So try to find something that they aren't going to see somewhere else.
All right. And you also do a lot of collaborations. So how does that diversify the perspective when you bring collaborators in your content?
I think, I mean, obviously it adds, like, you know, like with you, even collabing with you guys, like there's gonna be some women who are like, man, I probably need that. Like, you know, you need it. You needed the book, and it just arrived. So it's like a, I don't know, it's like a mesh. You know, I love mixing and meeting new people, and, you know, you find yourself needed in this other space, you know, and so that's what collaborations bring for me. And I'm always open to try new things. And
nice. Okay, well, I need you to educate me on some basketball terminologies.
Okay,
are you ready?
I'm ready.
So these are things that I always see like on TV or, you know, PPG.
Points per game.
Points per game, okay. MPG.
Makes per game.
Then I saw something about FT%. What is FT?
Free throw percentage.
Free throw percentage.
And then there's like the FG, that's field goal. So that means like anywhere that's like inside the 3-point line. Because they also have 3 PG, 3-point percentage. So anything outside of the 3.
Okay. All right.
So now you know.
Now I know.
Are those in your book?
Those are not in the book. They probably should be, but I needed y'all when I was writing it. So there are some things that you may not find in there, but you can always DM me. I'll answer any questions.
Definitely.
But I'm like, you know, because I would have think that there was, you know, common, but it's not.
No, it's not. It really isn't. It really isn't. You know, I've been in situations where there's a game going on and everyone's like, yeah, and I'm just like,
just cheer when they cheer. There's also a tip in the book. I'm like, listen, if all else fails, when the people you came with cheer, just cheer. Just cheer too.
Go right along with it. Like you belong.
You'll get there. You'll get there. You know?
Eventually. Oh my goodness.
So how did your degree in communications and like film and help you with today what you do?
I want to say it helped me like be open to learning and help me to know how to learn. And a lot of the things that I learned, I got my undergrad at U of H, and I always give credit to them. Like I learned so much like at that place, like that I still like kind of teach students now, even though I'm not a professor, I still kind of help students with the stuff that I learned. So, I mean, it's just like little, you know, like how to coil a cord. You know, you might think when you're doing it at school, you might think like, oh, that's useless, but it's literally like people will look at you crazy if you don't know how to coil a cord. And so just small things like that, you know, that these communication programs are paying attention to is really, you really need to know them. It might seem useless but you need to know how. It's to work your way around the studio. You know, you might have to come in as a camera operator, and so to work your way to the front. And so, you know, you need to learn how to do that.
Yeah.
If that's your way in, that's your way in.
Yeah. All right. Interesting. How important for you is support system in everything that you've done, that you've accomplished, that you've encountered? Because I know through it all you've had your highs and your lows. Who was kind of like your backbone? who has been your support system all the way through?
I have such a huge support system. It's like you can't just name one person.
Yeah.
Like even like my family for sure. Like they are one of my biggest support systems. They live all around Texas. So whenever I've had to move, like whoever's closer, that who has helped me. Like between my mom, my dad, my boyfriend, my kid. You know, like everyone helps with that. I had to move to Abilene last year, and so my family really had to like come in and help with as far as my kid and keeping us the traveling was crazy. She stayed here in Houston and I went to Abilene. So her dad really took on this whole like single dad role. And I was really proud of him because I was like, I'm scared, but he obviously loves his kid, but I'm like, who gonna comb her hair?
Right.
So I was coming here once a week from Abilene. I was coming here to do hair and her dad was taking care of her during the week. So that was like a big time where my family really had to like step in.
Nice.
So my family, they've been my rock, man. I couldn't do it without them.
I know. All right, so listen, before we wrap it up, we're gonna do a quick rapid fire with Sierra, okay? So you ready, Sierra?
I'm ready.
All right, so let us go with our first one. Favorite sports snack?
Nachos.
Nachos, okay. Go-to hype song?
Oh, Glorilla. I love her.
You like Glorilla?
But it's a song. She got a couple songs. You know, we can go down the list. But Glorilla, yeah, for sure. She gonna get me there.
Okay. All right. Favorite sports meme?
Oh, the one. Okay, so when JR shot in the wrong goal, this is like the funniest meme. It has so many things that you can say with it. I think there was one where it's like, where he's like, he's asking to use the bathroom. It's like, but we just stopped at a rest stop. So there's like so many things that go. That's like the funniest meme.
All right. Okay. One thing you would like every woman watching to know.
I would want every woman watching to know that you are the best bet. Best parlay. You. Bet on yourself.
There you go. All right.
Yeah.
I like that. I like, y'all got that? Listen. All right. And what are future goals for Sports Bay? What are future goals, things that you're looking for, you know, in this year, in the upcoming months, in this coming year?
I'm excited to expand with Sports Bay. I do have some sports trivia cards coming out, so that's going to be something fun that you guys can bring to the girls' night, you know, learn a little sports. It's like sports and pop culture together, so it asks questions like who was married to Russell Wilson's wife before, you know, like stuff like that to kind of mix. So, you know, I'm just looking forward to wherever God is taking me, to be honest. I'm excited. I'm still on this sports grind, sports journey, and now I'm in like a director role, and I'm just like, I'm ready.
All right. That's what's up. Oh my goodness. Listen. It was such a pleasure. Such a great pleasure to have you. We're definitely gonna need to have you back here on the show. And maybe we might have, maybe you can ask
the sports trivia.
We gonna play the game. The game will be ready. When I get the cards, we definitely can come back and play around for sure.
100%.
They gonna start studying Sports Bay to prepare for it.
Definitely.
We will.
So listen, I hope you guys took notes. I hope you guys wrote down what you needed to learn, so that way, you know, when you watch it, when your husband's watching the game or your boyfriend, or you know, y'all just having a gathering, you know exactly what to say. You know, just play along. Just do like me. Just play along. Just play
cheer when they cheer.
Definitely. But before we go, Sierra, really quick, for those who want to get in contact with you, for those who want to reach you, they want to know where they can get your book. Give them all of your information.
Well, you can follow me on Instagram at sportsbay__. Everything is in the bio. You can order the book on the link in there. You can DM me, you know, all that good stuff. So it's Sports Bay, Instagram, on Twitter as well. So
there you go. So listen, make sure y'all hit her up if y'all want to, you know, educate yourself on the sports language. I'm definitely going to ask her more questions because, listen, I'm not done with those questions, all right? But listen, on another note, we're going to go into our question of the day. And I know we have some wonderful people who already sent in their comments. So let's go on a quick break and we'll come back with the question of the day. right, so for y'all who missed the question of the day towards the beginning of the show, where were you guys? But here it is. Here it is for you, okay? So what's your top self-empowerment tip that doesn't rely on anyone else's approval? And we have our beautiful people who sent in their comments. Let us get into that really, really quick. We have Sapphire. So Sapphire says the following: I think creating a mood board for your future is super fun. Get creative, allow yourself to dream, and get yourself hyped about what your life could look like. Sapphire. Okay, girl. I see you. All right. Thanks for sending in your comment.
Thank you.
Thanks for sending in your comment.
Yes. And we have our next comment from Zaline. Zaline, read up on the philosophy of Stoicism, or watch the episode y'all did. Okay. Yes, watch our episode.
Yeah, you got it, Celine.
Okay, Celine. I see you too.
Yes.
And we have another one coming from Ash. Meditation is a great way to focus on yourself for a dedicated amount of time. No distractions, just you. I think Ash also watched our episode the other day, right?
They're on point today.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, goodness. So, Angelique, what about you?
For me, I would say positive self-talk.
Positive self-talk. All right, Tia.
I was gonna say the same thing.
Positive self-talk.
I have on my phone, my wallpaper says it's okay to make mistakes, you know, because it's for me to know if I mess up, if anything happens, it's okay. You know, it's okay, it's not a problem. Like, don't beat yourself up over it. So I think for me, that's like, I don't need nobody's approval if I messed up or anything like that. Like, I got this, you know.
Okay, awesome. Mine's, I will have to agree with Sierra. What she said was on point. I had a comment, but scratch that comment. What she said was really, really, really good. So listen, thank you guys for sending in your comments. We're gonna go on a quick break and we'll be back.
We will be right back with more Breaking the Silence.
Drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. 2 milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal. A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable. The sad reality is, fentanyl is being mixed into everything now.
More kids should know.
Has the world around you gotten you down? Do you need a hand to find tranquility in an overwhelming world? The Universal Church has what you're looking for. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. The Universal Church will help you find the light.
You are watching Breaking the Silence.
Why is it when things are so good and interesting, time just flies?
Yes.
I was like, goodness gracious, where did the time go? Listen, we would love to thank Sierra. She was amazing. The time just wasn't enough, but no worries. We're definitely going to have her back here on Breaking the Silence because she was amazing. And let me tell you something. I'm going to take some of her tips and advice. So next time I'm at a game, I don't look lost. You know what I mean? And you definitely won't look lost. Definitely. Read her book. Get her book support because let me tell you, she She is amazing. But we do want to remind you guys about our King series as well. You make sure you tune in to the Kings, watch it. You have the weekdays to watch it. If you can't catch it on the weekdays, listen, you have Saturday and Sunday to tune in to Kings. It is off the hook, let me tell you. Whew. I've been stuck on Kings. I am stuck on Kings. It is great.
That's all she talks about.
That is all the time that we have. We're going to have to say, see you guys.
Bye.
Bye.